that was the best. Okay, got it. So the best way to learn it was to start playing and then figure things out as we go. So what you see here, these are 4 different players tables. They're identical. They're just, if we have a larger group, then people can split up and then in the breakout rooms operate in their specific table. So let's look at what's here. So you have here an electronic version of, or the virtual version of 2 games. One is called Fear in Workplace. And this is a collection of different organizational fears. And this is what you see here. These are fears and fear symptoms. Let me just maybe zoom in a little bit. So different fears and fear symptoms that show up for teams and organizations when they go through change, whether they're going through Agile, DevOps, or they might be just working in a toxic organization, and these are very common. So in fact, I created this game based on experience I had working with one of the teams and getting ready for a keynote at the Agile Games conference. So this is one part of the game. The other part of the Fear in Workplace are these cards on the top. So every one of them has a specific scenario or things that people say when they are working in the place affected by fear. For example, I'm the expert on this. You want this done? Everything has to go through me. And that's a real quote. So what happens in the game? You open the cards, in any card from this class, if I make cards, and you pull it to the player's table. And then you start looking at the fears and fear symptoms, and you start as the group pulling in whatever fears or fear symptoms you think the person who is saying that may show up. That's like the first round. And you start having a conversation. You start having discussion. So you pulled something like fear of losing the circle of influence. So why do you think that is present in this specific statement? Then another round could be, if this is something this person is saying, what kind of fears might be happening, not just for him, but for his manager, for his peers, so what else is happening in the organization? So first you're diagnosing, so to speak, what's happening, what kind of fears and symptoms are present. Once you got through that level of discussion, then you start thinking about, okay, now that we know what the problem is, how are we going to help this poor situation, poor organization to move on and get things into a little bit more healthier space? And this is where we have these 5 different categories of the safety in workplace cards. So let me zoom in into knowledge, for example. So you have knowledge, transparency, autonomy, blameless, and team. And if I zoom in into knowledge, so these are some practices, ideas about what could be helpful if the fear is attributed to some lack of knowledge in a team. So could be break knowledge silo, build T-shaped skills, model vulnerability, ask for help, manage by not knowing, bring up uncertainty, interdependence, impact. So what you notice that some of these are coming from just experience that I had with the different teams, and then others are coming from a book by Amy Edmondson, Fearless Organizations. So that's the biggest impact for, or the biggest inspiration for the safety in workplace, those 2 sources. Okay, and so that's what you do. You first find a problem, diagnose what kind of fears and fear symptoms, see what you can pick from the available cards, and then add from your own experience, because you all are coaches. So some of the things that you experience might be helpful in resolving this situation. And once you've got enough discussions, once you exhausted the topic and came up with all the possible ways to solve it, you're going to take a screenshot, and then you're going to move it into this solution table. Okay, so we have a collection of solutions for the problems that we were solving. And usually when you work with the larger group, then you get all these cross-pollination of discussions and cross-pollination of solutions in these solution screenshots. So that's the gist of how the dynamic of the game is going. And obviously the fun is in the conversations and discussions and Shall we give it a try?
Sounds good.
Okay, so
Let's
let's do it. One other thing I wanted to mention. So the last team I played it with, we first pick a random card, and then we played the first random card, so they got a little bit of how to do it, and then we open up all fears, the classify me cards, and we voted on the one that was the most interesting for them to discuss. And I gave them two options to vote. I gave them a thumbs up if they want to upvote something, and I gave them a thumbs down. So it's like a veto. So if I don't want to talk about this topic, I can put that veto sign and we're not going to touch it. But that's another indication if something is going on in the team and they don't want to talk about that. Okay, let's do it. So just go ahead and open up any random card from the Classify Me deck.
I'm opening it. I'm
All right.
pulling it in. I'm not the expert. I better wait and hand it off to them.
All right. Yeah, I'm just going to remove this one. So what do you think is going on for this person who's saying that? Let's look at the fears and just start bringing whatever you think is relevant to whatever person is saying. What might they be feeling? Why they are saying something like that?
I feel like all four of those that we have there all fit.
Okay.
Yep. The fear of failure there too.
Yeah, I'm grabbing that one as you said it. Great minds. I wonder if disengagement could fit or not, whether that's just an excuse because somebody's disengaged to say, nah, I don't really want to do this type scenario. Okay.
I think it the same way.
Yep.
Sorry, my inner organizer is going nuts with them all overlapping. Anyway, all right.
Okay, so you got a few to get us started. So let's talk about it. So why did you pull a specific card? So what's going on for this person?
Yeah, to Diller's point, I think that at least the bottom three in the bottom left corner, fear of failure, fear of lack of expertise, and risk avoidance all really tie together into a really nice story here, which is if you don't have the experience for it or the expertise, you're afraid that you're going to fail, and it's a big risk to take something on that you could fail on for them. So to me, those three fit really nicely together as a explanation for something like this.
What else might be going on for this organization? So think about if a team is operating in this kind of mode and the team members are responding like that. So what kind of culture is there in the team?
Very siloed.
I would argue that there is probably a fear of losing a circle of influence because they might be knowing a specific domain and they don't want to share that because they might be afraid that if they do, then they'll lose their jobs because the job security. I'm not going to share what I know, however little that might be.
Yeah, when I hear this and I see reactions, sometimes it's body language related to read, but I always would ask the question of how do you handle when someone doesn't finish or do something perfect? Like, how are you punishing or incentivizing that kind of behavior? If somebody doesn't meet the expectation for the work or whatever it is they're picking up, do you come down on them? And in which case are you then incentivizing people to not pick up things that stretch their comfort zone?
I'm going to bring this one, initiatives are squashed, because maybe the person tried in the past and he was yelled at for trying or touching the code that wasn't his or hers, and so from that point he's like, I'm not the expert, and let them do it. Okay, so anything else coming up for people here? Okay, so let's start looking at how can we help this situation. First, let's look at the tools available, and then we can start adding things from our own experience as well. And we have some cards for knowledge, transparency, autonomy, blameless, and team. So what might be helpful from these 5 categories?
We just drag and drop these over
Yep.
to, okay.
Yep. I don't know if David is arranging everything neatly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
so
drag
we can,
them, and you can clean it up, David.
for me, it's more just, what were we talking about at the top first, and then what are ways we solving it at the bottom? If we want to match them up, I'm happy to help there, but
Yeah, and you can always use the drawing tool to do all kind of drawing and matching things up.
oh yeah.
That helps. Because some of those ideas might be addressing more than one fear, or a lot of times what's happening is that you see a symptom of fear that is causing some other symptoms to show up. So they're usually all very much related.
Can you share a little bit on what the respond productively means?
In the context of curiosity over blame. So if something fails, then you just as a leader, responding with curiosity and asking questions to understand rather than blame.
Got it. Totally makes sense. Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
Cool. I think these are good.
Okay, that's a good start.
A good start.
I keep waffling on the go after the things that suck. I got like one little voice on this shoulder that says it could fit, and the other voice says, nah.
What's the voice that says it should fit?
That one's kind of thinking of if I'm trying to pass it off because I'm not the expert. That's kind of my mindset. Maybe am I not the expert because it is something that sucks? Is it something that most people don't want to do because it's time consuming, it's boring, it's not exciting? So I'm using the excuse of I'm not the expert, so I'll just wait for somebody else to do it.
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm pulling it in.
That's a cool way to look at it. Yeah. And then as a team, if you're having this conversation, then the action item might be, let's actually go after those things that suck and those things that we were avoiding as a team.
Yeah. How do we celebrate people that go after those instead of making it kind of like the shortest straw has to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else can help from your experience?
I'm a huge fan of the modeling of vulnerability on this. And I think this goes really deep on teams where if you're a leader who leads by being the expert on everything and always having an answer and, always being that person, I think it can reinforce individuals not wanting to push outside their comfort zone unless they are
Mhm.
100% confident. And so showing that it's all right to say, hey, I don't understand this, I need help at the leadership level,
Mhm.
so that they can understand, like, we value that. There's no one that's going to come down on you for not having all the answers from the first start in that scenario.
What else is coming up for people? Matt, you've been quiet. Is there anything that resonating?
Sorry, my kid's screaming outside my door. The only thing that's hitting me under the autonomy category would be negotiating boundaries with delegation folk. So, really trying to put that, what could be delegated is a good crop.
We lost you for a sec, Matt.
I think your audio.
Yeah.
All good. I'm not sure which one he was speaking to. I had to go remove something that my puppy was
Oh.
chewing up.
He
But
was looking at the autonomy, the negotiate boundaries with delegation poker in the bottom right corner.
oh yeah,
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think on that note, from that corner, I think emphasizing the goal is a good one too. And the reason I think that is, if we put more emphasis on, as a team, our goal is to finish this item or this challenge, this problem, this outcome, whatever we're talking about in this scenario, putting less emphasis on individuals' expertise and more emphasis on, we want to get this done, goes a long way in just getting rid of this, I have to be the expert for everything I work on expectation.
Yeah. One of the teams I was coaching, in the retrospective, someone said, I don't like sharing half-baked ideas. And I actually love encouraging people to share their half-baked ideas. When it's not perfect yet, then it's still kind of forming, because that's when others can add to that idea. And I think there is something here in this, I'm not the expert, is that expectation of perfection. Like, unless I'm perfect, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I like that. That I spent a decent amount of time working with an art team for like 4.5 years for creating content in video games. And that goes a long way. A half-baked idea allows for feedback. It allows for people to iterate on top of it, versus I come with a fully baked solution. Then now everyone feels they have to come with a fully baked solution, or else it won't be chosen, or vice versa. No one can give feedback on it. So
yeah, to me, if it's perfect, it's closed to any kind of collaboration. Okay, cool. So have we exhausted this topic? Should we take a screenshot, move the solution, and then pick something that is, because this was picked at random, so we could pick something that's interesting for this group and then dive into that one. Okay, so someone take a screenshot. I'm going to move the cards back. So, okay, awesome.
Right.
Okay, So let's open up all the cards and see what resonates with this group and go after that one. Oh, got it. Ryan and Amber, I'm acknowledging your presence, but I don't know if you want to turn on the camera and be part of the discussion. So it's up to you.
Yeah, I'm on my iPhone. I'm trying to toggle back and forth. I can try. Hold on. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I will shortly. I'll have my camera on. I'm just coming back from the gym, so
That's fine. Everyone is welcome in any condition. We're all in this together. Right?
Mr. Productive over here at the gym already at 8:30 in the morning.
I know, right?
I know, right? I'm having a baby, so I have to get used to the random times.
Congratulations.
Are you able to follow up what we were doing here? Because I'm sorry, I didn't notice when you joined.
Yeah, I have the screen. I'm able to see the screen.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so unfortunately, it's 5 minutes before I need to leave. So how do you feel in terms of taking another card, maybe voting on which one you want to talk about, and then diving into this maybe a few more rounds?
I think we can run with it.
Okay.
This is
Sounds
well
good.
structured so that we can kind of
Yeah.
follow it.
Yeah. One thing to note, that if you zoom into a card, it tells you like which category it's coming from. So if you want to put them back in, or if you totally don't want to clean up after yourself, that's fine too. You can just go into a second group and do it there. Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
So with
Well,
that,
thank you.
I'm gonna say goodbye and thank you for coming and trying to experiment with this game. It's definitely much more fun when you have it as the card deck and you're sitting in the bar and you're playing with a team. Definitely goes with more energy and more conversations.
Sure.
But even with the neural version of it, I got some good results as it seems because they were open after playing this trial round. They were able to pick up a specific problem that was resonating with them and then go deep into really good discussions and figuring the way out of having this theory in the team. Okay,
Thanks
so
for
with
being
that,
here, Dana.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dana.
We'll take you up on that offer of playing at the bar at a conference
Yeah.
at some point.
Yes, that'd be awesome. Yes. Right.
I'm gonna say
Thank
bye
you.
too. I also have to hop off for an 8:30 this morning. So thanks for sharing this, Dana, and everyone else. I'll see you later.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Marissa.
Me, I have a 8:30 meeting, but thank you, everybody. Talk to you later.
Right.
Amber.
All right, with our smaller group,
Yeah, that dwindled quickly.
which one do any of these interest anyone in particular?
I like the one on the far right. We've always done it this way. Let's just wait it out. Agile DevOps, these two shall pass.
Let's talk through it. Let's do it.
Hey, Klaus, would you mind sharing your screen?
Oh, of course. Of
Thanks.
course.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure that I don't have any of my top secrets. I have some stuff I'm working on that has a little bit more like sensitive information on it. Can you see it?
Yep. Thank you.
All right, good. Don't worry, the Pokemon bingo card isn't one of those items. I have a bookmark of a Pokemon bingo card. Anyway, all right, let's talk about this. We've always done it this way. What are the fear in the workplace items that this hits?
Gotta be. I mean, there's a lot of fear there. I would say definitely the insecurity piece, fear of
Fear of
failure,
change for sure.
and change. Yeah.
There was one in here. I don't remember where it is.
Yeah, the lack of expertise, the losing the circle of influence. I think both of those fit too.
Losing
Yeah.
control was the one I was
Yep.
looking for.
I think those kind of tie into like the fear of losing your job. I feel like tenured employees or team members feel kind of threatened at times.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think what's interesting here for me is that like for any item that it comes up, it could be a number of things. And so what I think about is like what's my role to play in helping figure out which one it is. And might the strategy that we take as a group change based on which one of these fears is actually the underlying cause of that statement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like the not one-to-one. I think it reinforces the idea that there's not a blueprint for solving any of these scenarios. Like there's not like a can to go to, yes, if you say this, it is clearly this one fear. And so I have this one card that I play every single time that makes it work. You got to learn more about the team at that scenario.
Right. Well, and then in this example, right, you could even go with fear of unclear role of boundaries.
Yep.
Because, people aren't used to being cross-trained or, being cross-functional in general.
I think there's a lot of stuff. And, even to go as far as from previous experience, I would even put good people are leaving here, which doesn't initially sound right away, but I've seen companies where there's a shift towards a more DevOps style or team shift to a more transparent work style or agile, whatever you want to call it. And it's not the way it's always been done. So the people that have always worked that or a different way are just like, this isn't for me. And so you see some of those people leaving. It's like, oof, do we really want to change? Is that Agile's fault? I have my own personal opinions that it's not, but I could see that being a fear too. So what are some of these ways in the other categories that we can mitigate or resolve this stuff?
Back to the mural.
Yeah, I think of the like 5 that are there, I think transparency is the one that probably stood out to me, that like whoever's in that position about, like moving us to Agile or DevOps or whatever, like if they're transparent about what their intentions are, that like this is a permanent thing, we're not intending on ever going back, here's why we think it's important, I think some of these start to go away.
Yeah. Ryan, do you need the link? You're muted.
Marissa sent me the mural link, so I was just
Okay,
looking at it
cool.
right now.
I didn't know if you got it.
Oh no, yeah,
Cool.
she got me caught up to speed pretty quick. I don't know if you guys talked or the team talked about this, but when we talk about I love the transparency comment, Chris. Is there how do we think it's different? And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but the increased communication and frequency in team and the transparency, I think those kind of tie together, at least from my opinion. But what do you 3 others think?
Well, there's not a one size fits all sort of an answer. Like I was looking at the team section as well, Ryan, and it was all, I was like, all of those could in theory work.
I think they fit nicely together. I think there's been teams I've worked on that communicate very frequently, but don't have transparency about struggles or things that they need help with or things like that. Like their communication is great in that they talk to each other a lot, but they're not really transparent about struggles or things they need help with. So I think they reinforce each other. I think they're distinct.
Yeah, I like that. That should make sense.
Mhm.
What else? Is there anything else that fits this? I think Diller, you and I have talked about this one a lot. The success through course correction, early, often, and ugly. Like that with a big change like this, like correcting often and doing things half okay is usually better than we need to fully bake this. And so we don't change along the way.
Yeah, I think that, and then I'm looking at this like practice heavy transparency card with it, right? Like couple those together. Like be blatantly honest about where things are going well, where it's failing. Be upfront about that too, and maybe that's even the like go after things that suck also. Is like all three of these are kind of related. Like even if the new practice we have put in place sucks, let's go after that. Let's fix that. And that's where that early, often, and ugly course correction thing comes into.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Any others that we want to talk about?
The only other two that kind of, I think in the knowledge category would be the bring up uncertainty, interdependence, impact, and then manage by not knowing. I think those would pair well with increasing the communication frequency within the team. You know, and maybe if people are so like set in their ways, maybe it's because there's that fear of change, and we just need to lay it out. We need to teach a little bit more than we need to coach at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Otherwise, that's a good mix, I think.
Cool. We good to capture this?
I think so.
I will capture it. Because I've got all this stuff ready to roll right now. What was this one? Always done it. Okay. You guys want to move some of those things back while I paste
Yep.
this into the spot? Then maybe we do one more. I think we have time for it.
Sure. Did Dana actually like make this game? Like she's got an actual deck of cards that she made for this?
I believe so. I believe this is her creation.
That's cool.
Well, that's not what I wanted. All right. I'm going to put this one back. All right. Anyone have one more that is particularly interesting to them? So I'll just scroll through here.
One that stands out to me, and I don't know if you've done this one already, is the I need to know all the details. I feel like sometimes that's kind of that how we're trip feeling from whether it's a product owner or stakeholders. Always trying to butt in and wanting not to trust the team, kind of. I don't know if you've done this one or not, or feel differently.
No, let's talk about it.
Yep. I like that one because I definitely have a team going through that right now.
think there's a lot for this one. Although I think I could probably try to spin it as almost any of these if I really tried hard enough.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm doing it. Brilliant Jerks going in there.
Let's do
Which
it.
one is that, Matt?
Brilliant.
Jerks.
You know, I'm thinking like the dev that's super intelligent, but kind of arrogant at the same time.
Mhm.
It's those people that everyone about them says like, oh, they're a great engineer, but
But
nobody likes to work with them.
yeah,
And response is, it doesn't sound like they're a great engineer.
Which again, I think goes back to how you incentivize behavior at an org level. Like, do you reward people for being amazing at what at like their exact job, or do you reward people for being amazing at their job and bringing others up around them to do that, right? Like, if you've always been rewarded for being the solo hero, why would you ever step outside of that pattern? So
Yeah.
we got enough to get started on why some of these. We talked about brilliant jerks a little bit. I pulled in blaming and finger pointing as a symptom of it. And I think that more so from a who is going to point fingers or blame, like I want to have all the details. Therefore, if it doesn't turn out right, we can point the finger at, you know, somebody who came up with all the details that were handed to me or something like of that nature. I see this a lot when it's like, we need to really define this item more. Get out of here. Dog's chewing up the carpet. Nice. I need to define this more before I get started on this. Like, this is too vague. I need to have exactly how we're going to write this or design it, or else I won't get started on it. I think that comes from what happens when something goes wrong. Like, if you don't have all the details and you make a wrong assumption, how do we blame or finger point at people in that scenario? How about some other ones? I see fear of losing my job.
Yeah, I put that one. I just feel that sometimes team members or colleagues feel like they have to kind of be the source of truth for everything, just for that job security. Basically, if I know all this, you can't get rid of me, kind of thing, kind of attitude. And then I feel like that actually stems a little bit into the good people are leaving, just because we don't give them the ability to have different perspectives a lot of the time. If we have that kind of domination on a team, I hear that all the time from younger graduates, especially in the development world, where they don't have the ability to kind of innovate and things like that. And I know right now I'm at an insurance company, so it's like, how much innovation can you do right now? But we don't really allow that at the moment. And I'm trying to help change that, so we don't get people to join for 8 months and they're like, oh, I'm leaving because this isn't what I expected.
I like that. I find that interesting because you took it from a different angle than I did. I took
Oh,
it
did you?
as I need to know all the details is something somebody was saying before they're even willing to start on anything. Whereas the way you said that, it sounds like somebody is hoarding the details as like a way to hold worth, if you will, or hold value for them. So I like that it's multi-angled here. Any other points of discussion from these?
I think to your earlier point, you know, you could really make a case for just about anything on there, because this is, I need to know all the details, as you just pointed out, is very much up to interpretation. So
Yeah.
I'd say let's roll with those two kind of angles and what we've got, and let's solve for it.
Perfect. All right. How can we solve this?
So I guess in my head, there's two ways to look through it. You could do the, increasing communication, and, heavy transparency, those sorts of things. Or you could just kind of increase the uncertainty, or bring up uncertainty quite a bit, and being comfortable with that.
So that one, what was the other one you said?
Heavy transparency.
There you go. All right, cool. Whoa.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I don't have to control all the moving. I'm just doing it as we talk. So. I think there's a few more in knowledge that we like that could fit. So the T-shaped skills versus and by that I want to make sure that it doesn't mean like everyone needs to know how to do everything, but at least like being able to share some of I understand what we mean by this language or this area, so that we can have more meaningful conversations without like a full design document for everything.
I moved the uncouple fear from failure up to like what's not clear necessarily just from the statement, right? Is which of these fears is it, and how do we let them know that even if we fail, like it's not necessarily just their fault, and
Right.
if there is some of that kind of thing going on.
I like that. I see increased communication frequency.
Yeah, I brought that in with the bringing up the uncertainty aspect.
Yeah, I love it. Again, I think this goes, I just love this card, so I am going to put it on everything, probably emphasize the goal. Instead of focusing on, is this idea fully baked with details? Question is this enough to get us started towards our goal? And if it is, like, and we agree on the goal, then let's reward people for starting instead of like rewarding people for waiting till we think we have it 100% figured out. And then as soon as something goes wrong, we have to start over with the details.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's coming up for me as you're saying that is like, we're never going to know all the details. We're always going to know more tomorrow. We're always going to learn more in the future, but do we have enough? I like that, how you phrase that.
Yeah. I've been on many teams where I've fallen into this trap too, where I've asked, well, what do we need to start? And have gotten a entire, Word doc page of here are all the variables, parameters, like what are the things that we need to know for all of this before we even start working on it, so that we don't impact the wrong thing. And I think this is that scenario where it's like, we really don't need all those details. Can we start figuring those out as we work on it? Cool. We get on this one?
I think so.
All right.
There's a lot of fear that goes into that, but at the same time, it's in theory, there's not a lot of solutions. That there's plenty of solutions that could work, but I think if you stick to kind of the basics, you can get past this.
All right. I have pulled that one in as well. I think we're at about 10-minute mark. I'll be honest, I don't think we have the time to finish a whole nother one.
I'm with you.
I like this exercise. I think it's cool.
Do you know if Dana made this as a template for us that we can access, or is this like her only mural that she's got for this activity?
Yeah, I don't know.
Might be a follow-up question.
Yeah.
I believe Dana's in our Slack workspace, so you should be able to mention her in there as well. I can double
Got it.
check that. Actually, no, she's not. She's definitely on our email distribution list, though.
Deal.
So
I can look
if
for her
you,
there.
yeah, I can hit her up and ask if she's got any of the templates and if she has any other formats that she wants to share. So
Awesome.
if I
Cool.
get those, I will post those with the recap that I normally post out to the website.
Beautiful. All right. Well, that was great. That was fun.
Yeah, I like it.
It was a good one.
There's a lot we can do with this.
For
Oh,
March we have a presenter lined up. So it's gonna be a little bit different format. Going to be a little bit more of a talk, more of a conversation than actually playing a game. But we've got Michael Maglicio coming. Migs is passionate about games and agile stuff too. He's going to give a version of a talk that he gave at a conference in Japan. That's kind of focused on some of the overlap in between gaming scenarios and development. So it should be a fun one.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, have a good month. We'll see you in March.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks all.